Hello and welcome to Gem Bear Designs. It's Dina here with another video tutorial. In this one, I'm going to show you how I made this pop-up card. It's just bursting full of balloons. They just can't wait to get out of that little box. So, I hope you enjoy. Sit back, relax, have a cup of tea, and I'll talk you all the way through it. First of all, it's a double-sided piece of A4 card. You do need some quite substantial card for the base because it does have to take quite a bit of weight. I'm measuring it in centimetres, then I'll do a little bit of maths on my scratty piece of paper to work it all out. Now, an A4 piece of paper is approximately 28 centimetres long, so I'm going to do my box with squares of 6 centimetres. So 4 sixes are 24, plus an extra centimetre to make my tab, so I need to trim down my piece of paper to 25 centimetres long and then 12 centimetres tall, and that will make me a box based on 6 centimetre squares. So here we go, I'm just measuring it all out and then I'll trim it down. So here we go, I'm going to trim it to 25 centimetres long, 12 centimetres high. Again, that'll give me the box which is based on squares of 6 centimetres. I'm scoring here at 6, 12, 18, 24 centimetres, and then down and along the length of it across 3 of those panels. Don't score the 4th panel because that's the back and that stays standing vertical. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on the tab at the side and then it'll hold my box together. So I'm just peeling that tape off, stick it together. I quite often use PVA for this step because with the tape I don't like the fact that once it sticks and you can't really move it without destroying your box. I've refolded all my folds to make sure it was going to work, the box. Now I'm measuring out a piece of nice cartridge paper. This is to go on the back of the box to write the message on. Because the back panel is 12 by 6, I'm measuring the piece of paper here 11.5 by 5.5 centimetres, and I'm actually cutting 3 or 4 out at the same time. When I'm doing one card, I don't just do the one, I do a few at the same time to save. It's just more economical way of working, isn't it? I'm just doing the one at a time. So very quickly I'll just whiz that paper through, and then I can decorate it and stick it on the back panel. With this one I chose a few different colours before I chose this metallic pen just to go around the edge. I was considering putting some ribbon on. Sometimes I put twine around the back, and some I stamp a sentiment as well, but this particular one I left blank so I could write a message on it myself. So then it was just a case of quickly sticking that panel down with some double-sided tape, and now it's ready to start constructing the insides of the card. First thing is to cut some strips of card. If my box is 6 centimetres, they need to be about 9 centimetres long. About a centimetre and a half deep as well. It's for the balloons on the whatever you want to put in your box to stick onto. So to get them the right length, I just wrap them around one of the flaps like you can see here, fold the tabs under, and then they're ready to go into the card. Just put some double-sided sticky tape on those tabs and we're away to go. Sometimes I like to use PVA. It means you can move them around a little bit and it holds really firmly, PVA, once it's dry. But today I'm just using the double-sided tape. So there's my box frame, and now it's a case of putting them in with that tape and trying to get it in the right place immediately with the double-sided tape, because it doesn't give you any leeway, does it? Once it's in, it's in. It's a bit fiddly. The smaller the box, the more fiddly it is. And we'll just put the other 2 pieces in exactly the same way. As I'm putting them in, I keep flattening the box both ways to make sure that the flaps will work, whichever way the box ends up being folded up. There you can see the 3 strips are in place. I'm using some paper out of this pack. It came from the Works, £4, and the paper is absolutely amazing quality. It's really sturdy and I love the designs. I wish I could get some more of it, to be honest. It's much better than I was expecting when I bought it. And it's very versatile with the designs that they've got in the pack. So I'm just using this dotty paper and I'm going to cut out some squares 5.5 by 5.5 to start decorating the flaps of my little box. There you go, those are the 3 pieces of dotty paper, and now I'm going to cut out the centres using one of my square dies. And when I've done that, I've got a nice square frame with a square that I'm going to position off centre, rotate it just like that, and stick that down on the 3 flaps that fold down on my card, so they'll look like that when they're glued in position. I'm going to use PVA for this because I do want it to hold firmly. So I'm just dotting some PVA on the corners, and then I'll put them onto my box. I use my own little glue dispenser there. It's a hair dye bottle, it's got a super fine tip, it doesn't clog, and I've had it for years now and it works a treat. So there we go, just quickly putting those frames on, just to add that bit of interest around the edge of the card, because this part of the card is visible when it's in place. Now before I start putting in any of the fancy balloons things, I've got a frame that goes inside the back panel as well. I've just cut it out of that dotted paper, and then I used a different die to cut out the centre. You could use it with scissors just as easily. I sometimes cut that centrepiece out with scissors. Just adds a bit of interest to the back of the card. You don't see the back of the card very easily at all, so keep it quite simple, but you still need something there. There you go, that's in position. So now we're ready to start cutting out balloons. I'm using a selection of papers. These are all from the works. Some are from that first set I showed you, and I've got some from a different set. I'm very, very impressed with the quality of the paper from the works, I must admit. Much better than I was expecting. Now the balloons are quite heavy when you've layered them up, so I need to make sure my stands, that the ribbons the balloons go on, are going to take that weight. So I ended up gluing 3 layers of card together to make the strings for the balloons. On the other card that I made after this, I used Oasis wire, the stuff you hold flowers together with in flower decorations. Had to use a hot glue gun to stick it down with, but it did hold those balloons up much more firmly. Now what I do here is, once I've got those strings in place and glued into my box, I hang my card upside down like that. So the strings dry in the right position, because with it being the glue it does move around a little bit. So once I've got those strings where I want them, I hang the card upside down so they dry in the right place. Now those strings are dry, I've taken off the little pegs that are holding them in place. It's time to start assembling the bunches of balloons that are going to go onto them. So I'm just having a little think about what colours to go where and where I'm going to put them. I'm going to start at the back of the card and work my way forward. It's just because it's quite a small card, it's a small space to work in. So by doing that, I'm not struggling to reach into the centre of the card. So there we go, I'm just building up the picture with the balloons. I want them all sort of spilling out, bursting out of that box card. As the paper is double-sided, so some of the balloons have got the picture on one side and they've got a nice plain glossy cream lustre finish on the other, so some are turned upside down, so you get the contrast there. Once I got to this point, I hung my card upside down just to let those few balloons dry before I moved on to the next step, which is more balloons. Oh, here we go, adding more and more and more balloons. Some are fastened to each other, some I make sure of touching the green bits of card inside the box card, and that adds extra strength as well to the card as I'm going along. Once all my balloons are in place, and I'm quite happy with that, and I look at it from all angles, I think it's quite a nice little card this. I'm going to now get some glitter glue just to add a little bit of extra detail on around the outside on those flaps. So you can see I'm adding that glitter, and one went wrong, so I've dabbed it off and done it again. Just putting little patterns of glitter glue around the outside, and thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope it was of use to you. If it was, then please subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. I've just got a couple of photographs of my cards there. One I've stamped on the back, a happy birthday message, and the other I've written on the inside, just to make them a little bit different and individual. Thank you once again for watching. Bye now.